Welcome to Dining Delights. I'm Chef Chris, and today for our restaurant meal, quality meal, we are actually doing a fantastic, world-renowned cheeseburger with potato chips. When I think of summer, when I think of grilling, when I think of overall just having a great snack or a great meal, a cheeseburger is the best thing in the world. Now we're going to teach you how to grind some meat today, what combinations of ground meat works best. We're also going to make some potato chips. Now, I have some potatoes that are already sliced, but I want to show you what we need to do to make sure that we can get them this nice and thin. And what I have here is a mandolin, and I'm going to put on the safety glove again as well. Anytime you're using the mandolin, you should always have a safety glove. It is an imperative. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by cutting off the little end of the potato, get us a nice flat surface to start with to make our potato chips. And I'm going to start slicing down, 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 down. And you can see how well this is working. Now as we're getting closer, it's getting to the point we need to use the guard. And we have some nice thin potato chips. Now what you're going to want to do is after you get them all sliced up, you want to soak them in water for about 15 minutes. What that's going to do is pull out some of the starch. As some of that starch pulls out, it will make them much easier and they will cook much crispier. It kind of takes some of that stuff out that makes them so they don't crisp up. Now the next step is we want to dry them. So what I do is lay a towel down on a baker's rack like that, and I'm going to drain all the water out, press it down, use my hand to give it a nice pressure point, and pour them out and start spreading them out nice and even. Okay, nice and even. If they're stuck together, try and separate them as best you can. That's a good habit to get into whenever you're cooking, and you're cooking things, frying them especially, to make sure they're nice and separated. Now I'm going to cover them with another towel, and I'm going to press down again. And then I'm going to let these sit for about 20 minutes, and before they're going to go right into the hot oil, but we want to make sure that they're good and dry before that time. Now for our hamburgers, our cheeseburgers are going to be, like I said, the best you've ever had. I use a different type of mixture of different types of beefs, and one of my favorites is I like a chuck. Chuck is very meaty, it does have a little bit of fat, and it works in very nicely into the burger. This is a short rib. It has a bone in it. I usually cut right around the bone right here. You can see that bone right there. Cut right around, and then we use the remainder. If there is some sinew or something, you can go ahead and cut that out, but I like all that fat. I think that fat's really important to mouthfeel, and as that fat melts when the burger cooks, it leaves little pockets of juice and little pockets of air, so it makes the burger nice and tender. Now, I'm big on cooking beef tenderloins and slicing my own filet mignons, so this just happens to be an end piece of a beef tenderloin. You can see it's right where it would connect at the very top. So there is some sinew, there's some other stuff. All I did was trim some of this up, and you can see right here we have some nice pieces of tenderloin, we have our nice pieces of short rib, and we have chuck. Now I know a lot of people don't have grinder at home to make beef or to make ground beef. Essentially what we're going to do is use a food processor, and I'm going to show you how to do this. It's really simple. But first we're going to season our meat with lots of salt before we do this. Now, if you're going to ground a long time ahead of time, a few hours, it's fine to salt it. If you're going to grind a day ahead, I don't recommend that you salt it. I recommend that once you get it all ground and into a bowl, that you mix the seasoning in, because it does start to pull some of the moisture out at the cellular level and does pull some juice out. But you want to make sure that, right now we're all about flavor. So we're going to add that pepper in there as well, just like that. Now, we're going to get our food processor together here. We're going to move over, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get those cuts right in, and all this should fit, and we're going to kind of blend it all over. I'm going to mix and match a little bit here, some on the top, some around the sides, and just kind of get a nice even layer. Okay, now top goes on just like this. Now this is all about pulsing slowly. We don't want to turn this into a paste. We want it to just grind up like ground beef. So it's just pulse slow, on, off, on, off, on, off. And you may about halfway through have to stir, but it should start turning around and separating and grinding up nice and fine. And we can check and see how we're doing. See, we're starting to get that nice ground look right now. Gonna go just a little more. Okay, now we are gonna kind of turn over. Looks like we have a couple of little pieces on the top that we want to get blended just as well as the bottom. So another one time and we should be good. And we have ground beef, nice and fine. You can see it's very good. So we're going to go ahead and dump this into this bowl, just like that. And what I'm going to do is make some patties. Now, I like a big patty, so fairly good size. Quarter pound, third pound, half pound. This will be more of about a third of a pound. And what we want to do is press it, but not completely packing it tight. It has to have some air in between the cells, though that air will enable it to stay nice and soft and fill with juice. You want that nice juiciness. You want your burger to stay nice and juicy. So you can see we're going to go about that size. We'll do another one. And this meat is nice and mixed up. I can feel the different textures. It's just beautiful. Now, I'm gonna just shake this. Again, not pressing too tight. You do want to make them as round as you can so they will, you know, you want your burger to fit on the bun and be nice and round, so it does have the right shape. I guess if you wanted to go square, you could do that, but I think it is much better to have that nice round patty. And the good part is, since it's already seasoned on the inside, it's going to be much easier to add a lot of flavor to it, and it's going to be really enjoyable once it cooks. So now we have some decent sized patties, and I don't want you to be scared if you see big pieces of fat like this. That fat will cook. It will render right down while the burger's cooking, so don't feel like it has too much fat. A good percentage of fat is between 25 and 30% in your beef. And when we come back, we'll be ready to cook these burgers. The sauce for this burger is going to be a garlic aioli. I know it sounds super fancy, but essentially it's basically an emulsified mayonnaise that involves garlic. So obviously the first ingredient that we're going to use is garlic. Now, this is one of the most simple techniques that I know of, but it's always really impressive to show your friends how you do this. So I got my garlic in there. I'm going to add some lemon juice, just like this. I'm going to put a whole egg. Now, it is important that you use a container like this that's tall, that just barely is just a little bit bigger than an immersion blender. That is the real trick here. I'm going to go one whole egg, and I'm going to go one egg yolk as well. We're going to make this really rich. It is just like essentially a mayonnaise with garlic and lemon in it. Just like that. Now, we're going to take some Dijon mustard, drop that right in the bottom. Now, the Dijon mustard is for two purposes. It's going to add a lot of flavor, number one, but the most important part, it's going to help the emulsification stay together. Dijon mustard has this beautiful quality that whenever you're emulsifying anything, a dressing with vinegar and oil, you're emulsifying eggs and oil, it just has a fabulous way of holding everything together and binding it. Now, normally if I was doing mayonnaise in a blender, I would be just essentially drizzling this in as the blender's going. But this method is much easier. We're just going to pour it right on top like that. We're going to add a big pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper. And here's the trick. We're going to go right down on the garlic and the egg yolks first, and we're going to blend until it starts to come together. You'll see that texture starting to get that yellow color, looking kind of like a yellowy mayonnaise. At that point, once it comes together, we can start raising up and down. And we're starting to get a nice mayonnaise here. One more second. Get it just a little bit more fluffy like that. And our mayonnaise will be ready to use on our burger. On to the potato chips. So our chips have been drying here, and we have a pretty good dry amount. And what we're gonna do is, our oil is at 375. I like to utilize the spider as the tool to put the potatoes in as well. There's a lot of things I'll drop in by hand, but sometimes these get really splashy. So we're just gonna kind of do these in batches. Gonna go right in, look at that. That's why I batch. Still not perfectly dry, so you do get a little bit of water, but it's gonna make them nice and crispy. And these just take about 3 or 4 minutes. Now you'll notice that the bubbling in the oil is just starting to subside. Once that bubbling starts to subside, you can see your potato chips, the majority of them will be a nice, beautiful golden brown color. Some of these other ones could go a little longer, but they're still gonna crisp up once they sit for a minute. And we're gonna get them, we wanna make sure you can either put them on a paper towel. I prefer just a baking rack like this. It helps just get some of that oil to settle off. And then immediately once they come out of the fryer, in order to make it stick, you wanna salt those liberally. So liberally salt your chips, and these will be all ready to go on the plate with our burgers. Now, one of the neat things about making hamburgers is enjoying a bun, right? Everybody likes a bun. A lot of people like them toasted, a lot of people don't like them toasted. But one thing that I think is a great trick that works is I like to put the aioli on the bottom bun like this, okay? And straight down onto our cast iron. And do the same thing with the other side. A lot of people like butter, but also if you ever make grilled cheese sandwiches, you can put mayonnaise on the outside as well instead of butter, or with butter, and it helps it brown and gives it a nice rich nutty flavor. And I think adding this aioli to the bottom of the bun does 2 things. It adds that nice nutty flavor, and second, it makes kind of a dry crusty surface, so a lot less juice soaks into that bottom bun. That way you can really enjoy the burger instead of just a big ball of gushy meat and gushy bread. We don't want that. We want to have a nice texture. And this goes pretty fast, so we're just going to grab our thing and check and see how we're doing. See, just like that. And it gives us a nice crust base to start with. We have a little bit of toast on the top. All right. Now, for our burgers, one thing that's important, we seasoned the inside. Now we still have to season the outside. So liberal salt and pepper. And you'll notice I only use salt and pepper on a burger. You can use other things. You know, lots of people like garlic powder and things. To me, this is the most traditional. And then we're just going to go right into that pan, just like this. And now that we have the seasoned side down, we're going to season the top. And we'll let these go for a few minutes, and we'll be ready to turn them over shortly. Now, these are nice, getting nice and crusty on the bottom. That's what we're looking for, is a crust that looks like that. We want a nice dark crust. You'll see they're not quite cooked all the way through. That's fine. We're just going to turn anyway, and we're going to let that bottom crust. And then worst case scenario, if we have to turn over again, we will. But the nice thing about these burgers, since we ground our own meat and everything was fresh, you can actually eat them at a little bit lower temperature. I prefer mine medium rare to medium versus the medium to medium well like most people. So we're going to let these finish cooking, and we'll be ready to eat shortly. Nothing goes better on a burger than a great big slab of cheddar. So we're going to get the cheddar down, and as soon as the cheddar is melted, we'll be ready to put it on the bun. Look at that. Looks absolutely delicious. Starting, we're going to start building our burger, and we're going to build it right off. We're going to take it right off for a second. We want to set it down just for 1 second. Let some of the drippings drip off onto that baking sheet. Now, it doesn't take very long, but we want to get some of that juice to drip off. Otherwise, our burger will end up super, super soggy. We don't want that. Now, to start with the bun, I start with the bottom, and the first thing that goes on, always lettuce. Now, the reason always lettuce first, lettuce also helps become a barrier to stop that juice, so that bottom bun, you can still hold on to it when you're ready to eat. Now that this has sat for a second, we got some of that juice off it. We can lay that nice patty right there in the middle. Okay, we're gonna go with some onion rings. Oops. 2 should be good. Some tomatoes. Obviously, some pickles. Now, gonna get some of that delicious aioli nice and soft on the top bun. And we can put it right onto the side so people can smash it whenever they're ready to eat. And then, of course, we need to get some of those potato chips, nice and crispy. You can hear that crispness right there. And then for those of you who like ketchup, we can also add a little dish of ketchup. And there you have it. Great American cheeseburger with potato chips and ketchup and it, garlic aioli. Thank you for watching today as we cooked the all-American cheeseburger and of course potato chips. You can go to cookwithchefchris.com and get all these recipes and a bunch more. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.